Few public figures have embodied the idea of service as completely as Colin Powell. Soldier, strategist, diplomat, and statesman, Powell's life traced a remarkable arc through the highest levels of American military and political leadership. He broke historic barriers, commanded global respect, and became a symbol of disciplined leadership grounded in character rather than ambition. His story is not only about rank or office, it is about how steady values, preparation, and integrity can shape history. Roots in Harlem and the power of discipline. Colin Powell was born in 1937 in Harlem to Jamaican immigrant parents who believed deeply in hard work, self-reliance, and personal responsibility. Raised in New York City, Powell's early life was not marked by privilege, but by structure and expectations. His parents emphasized effort over entitlement, an outlook that would quietly guide him for decades. Powell attended public schools in New York before enrolling at the City College of New York. Initially unsure of his path, he struggled academically in civil engineering and searched for a sense of direction. That clarity arrived unexpectedly when he encountered students in military uniform. Joining the Army Reserve Officers Training Corps proved transformational. The order, discipline, and shared purpose of Reserve Officers Training Corps resonated with him deeply. Powell later described the program as giving him not just direction but a second family, one that rewarded commitment and accountability. He excelled in ROT, graduating near the top of his class, and in 1958 was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army, forged by combat and responsibility. Powell's early military career followed a rigorous path. He completed infantry officer basic training, ranger school, and airborne school, building a reputation for competence and calm under pressure. By the early 1960s, he was commanding troops and steadily advancing through the ranks. In 1962, Powell was deployed to Vietnam as an advisor to a South Vietnamese infantry battalion. The experience was formative and dangerous. He was wounded during his tour and awarded the Purple Heart. Vietnam would test Powell not only physically, but morally and professionally, exposing him to the complexities of modern warfare and the consequences of leadership decisions on the ground. After returning to the United States, Powell continued his professional education, completing advanced infantry training and earning promotion to major. In 1968, he returned to Vietnam for a second tour. During this assignment, Powell survived a helicopter crash. Despite being injured, he repeatedly re-entered the wreckage to rescue fellow soldiers, an act of bravery that earned him the Soldier's Medal. The incident became emblematic of Powell's leadership style: act first, accept responsibility, and protect others. From battlefield to policy rooms. Following his combat service, Powell expanded his expertise beyond the battlefield. He earned a master's degree in business administration from George Washington University, equipping himself with strategic and organizational skills that would later prove invaluable in government. During this period, Powell entered the world of national policy, serving as a White House Fellow under President Richard Nixon. This role introduced him to the inner workings of federal decision-making and placed him alongside senior civilian leaders. Unlike many military officers, Powell demonstrated an unusual ability to bridge the cultures of uniformed service and political governance. Over the next 2 decades, Powell served under both Republican and Democratic administrations. He held key positions in the Department of Defense during the Carter years and later became a senior military assistant to Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger during the Reagan administration. His steady, pragmatic approach earned him bipartisan trust, an increasingly rare quality in Washington, reaching the pinnacle of military leadership. In 1989, Powell reached a historic milestone. Promoted to 4-star general, he was appointed chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff by President George H.W. Bush. The position made him the nation's highest-ranking military officer and principal military advisor to the president. Powell was the first African-American to hold the role, and the first chairman to have earned his commission through ROTC rather than a military academy. As chairman, Powell played a central role during the end of the Cold War and the Persian Gulf War. He became widely known for advocating clear objectives, overwhelming force when military action was necessary, and defined exit strategies, principles that later became known as the Powell Doctrine. His cautious, measured approach contrasted sharply with more aggressive military philosophies and resonated strongly with both policymakers and the public. Powell remained chairman briefly into the Clinton administration before retiring from the Army in 1993, closing a military career that spanned more than 3 decades. America's first Black Secretary of State. Retirement from military service did not end Powell's public life. In 2001, President George W. Bush appointed him Secretary of State, once again breaking history as the first African American to hold the office. The appointment placed Powell at the center of U.S. foreign policy during one of the most turbulent periods in modern history. His tenure was shaped by the September 11 terrorist attacks and the subsequent global response. Powell became the face of American diplomacy abroad, emphasizing coalition building and international engagement. The period was complex and controversial, and Powell later expressed deep reflection about the challenges and consequences of decisions made during that era. After leaving office in 2005, Powell remained active in public discourse, speaking on leadership, education, and civic responsibility. In 2008, he publicly endorsed Barack Obama for president, underscoring his willingness to prioritize principle over party affiliation. Legacy beyond titles. Colin Powell's legacy extends far beyond his ersum. He was widely respected for his calm demeanor, ethical clarity, and belief that leadership was about service rather than self-promotion. Throughout his career, he emphasized preparation, accountability, and character as the foundations of success. His often quoted philosophy, being successful every day, captured his belief that excellence is built through consistent effort rather than singular achievements. Powell was also a strong supporter of historical preservation and education. He served on the Advisory Council of the National Museum of African American History and Culture and, alongside his wife Alma Powell, became a founding donor. He viewed the museum as an essential institution for telling America's full story, one that acknowledged struggle while celebrating progress. When Powell spoke about the museum, he emphasized its importance in completing the national narrative, ensuring that future generations would understand the contributions, sacrifices, and leadership of African Americans throughout U.S. history. An enduring American story. Colin Powell's life stands as a powerful example of what disciplined opportunity can produce. From the son of immigrants in Harlem to the highest military and diplomatic offices in the nation, his journey reflected resilience, adaptability, and unwavering commitment to service. He shattered barriers not through spectacle, but through competence and credibility. In an era often defined by division, Powell earned trust across political, racial, and institutional lines. His leadership reminded Americans that strength can coexist with restraint and authority with humility. Long after his passing, Powell's example continues to influence how leadership is understood, measured not just by rank or power, but by responsibility, judgment, and character. His story is not simply history. It is a blueprint for public service and a reminder that lasting impact is built one principled decision at a time. If you found Colin Powell's journey inspiring and want more powerful stories about leadership, history, and the people who shaped our world, make sure you stay connected with us. We share deep, engaging videos like this every week that go beyond headlines and reveal the real lessons behind greatness. If you want to be smarter every day, like and subscribe.